I know nothing about investing, nothing, but I do know about writing. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. So who am I? I am the writing guy on Twitter, and I have a podcast, a show called How I Write. I've interviewed people like Mark Andreessen, Morgan Housel, Michael Mauboussin, who's been here a few times, and Howard Marks, who I'm gonna talk a little bit about later. Interviewed a bunch of writers, done a lot on business writing, and then also I run a company called Write a Passage. I am extremely passionate, obsessed with writing, and Write a Passage is all about teaching that to people like you, really smart and ambitious people. And I've been walking around Capital Camp for the past few days, and a bunch of people have come up to me and have said, hey David, can you look at some of my writing? And there's been a lot of you, so I'm not talking about any of you in particular. And I gotta say, your ideas are great. I've looked at a lot of investment memos, but the way that you're communicating them is not. It's just, you got a lot of work to do, some of you. And what I'm here to do is I wanna help you communicate better in a way that helps you make more money, in a way that helps you have more impact in the work that you want to do, and actually meet and attract the right people for your life. And this is one of the fundamental axioms of the work that I do, which is that the world doesn't reward the people with the best ideas. It rewards the people who are best at communicating ideas. And I want to show you how to do that. I read sentences like this all the time, which say, only in the eventual abatement of market exuberance does the clarity emerge, exposing these participants who have forsworn the protective garb of sound financial prudence. Get rid of this stuff. This is nonsense. You're trying to impress your 5th grade English teacher. You're trying to button up the tie, sound all smart when you write. Cut it out. Don't do that. And what I want to do is I want to walk you through the evolution of this sentence from the utter junk that makes you want to puke right now into something really good about 10 minutes from now. This is how someone like Howard Marks would say it. He would say, there are lots of people who appear to have been skillful, but until they're tested by adverse circumstances, we don't know if it was really skill or just a bunch of good luck. It's clear, but it's not memorable, so we're halfway there. And clarity, that's not something I need to teach. That's something you could work on, that you'll kind of have an intuitive sense for. It's how to be memorable. That's what's difficult, and that's where I really want to help you, okay? No more sentences like this. It's over. After today, it's over. We're done with it. It's boring. And boredom is the enemy when you're writing. Boredom is the enemy. People don't like reading. Way easier to watch Netflix, way easier to scroll Instagram, way easier to check Twitter. No boring writing. So how do you make your writing fun? How do you make it pop? Because information is not enough. You also need to connect. And the kinds of people who are here, really good ideas, really good insights, really good information, your connection, it ain't that good. But that's what I'm here to help you to do. I'm here to help you make your writing pop. And there's this idea in the world that you can do things or you can write things. You can do things or you can write things, and these are completely separate tracks, completely separate ways of living. But I think this is a myth. Think of this very conference, Capital Camp, right? Patrick, Brent writes incredible annual letters, and Patrick has the podcast. We are here because of doers who write, because of doers who create. And it attracts you to Columbia, and you can do the same thing. There's a Greek word, this is my very favorite Greek word. It's archegos. And I was reading one day, I was like, okay, this Greek word archegos, let's learn all about it. Well, it has 4 meanings: author, founder, pioneer, leader. And I remember reading it and I was like, wait, what? How could all 4 of these words be in one word? Author, founder, pioneer, leader. I see these as completely separate things. So I was ruminating, I was on a walk, and I took a little bit of poetic license, I will admit, and I was like, what would make this make sense? I was stuck. And I got to thinking of like, how about the founders of America? They're kind of an archegos. You have someone like Thomas Jefferson. writes the Constitution, works on the Declaration of Independence. You have these founding fathers, these very scholarly philosophers, these very erudite gentlemen, and they're writing and writing. And through writing, they become authors. Founders, they go on to found a new nation, America, to pioneer a new form of government. And then you have people like Jefferson and Franklin. They become leaders of this new nation. I'm like, how about that? Doing things and writing things aren't opposite, but writing things is what ladders up to doing things. Who else comes to mind? Warren Buffett. He's an author, he's a founder, he's a pioneer, and a leader. And I want to dive into Warren Buffett's writing because people love it. A lot of you are big fans of Buffett, and I want to get a little X-ray goggles and figure out what's going on here. It's not just that Buffett's ideas are good. It's that he communicates them well too. That is the puzzle here. What is he doing differently? Because information is not enough. You need the connection. You need the connection. And people are diehard fans of Buffett just because he's rich or because he's smart. I mean, that's part of it, but that's not the thing. That's not the thing. Like, people by the thousands and thousands flock to Omaha, Nebraska every year to go watch this guy speak on stage and drink a Diet Coke. What is going on there? People are diehard fans of Buffett because they feel a connection to him. That is the X factor. It's the connection. So how does he do it? What is Warren Buffett doing that the people in this room aren't? What's the difference? It's not just the ideas, it's the connection. What does he do? He does three things. He relates to readers, he teaches his readers, and he entertains his readers. These are the three things, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. Remember, this is the enemy sentence. This is the villain. This is, we wanna get rid of boring writing. And the way that we do that is with POP writing, and POP stands for personal, observational, and playful. In any way that you communicate, from a talk like this to any form of writing, if you can incorporate personal, observational, and playful, your communication will get so much better, and it's so simple you can't even believe it works. So what I did was I went back and I looking through Warren Buffett shareholder letters, and I went back to 2001. I was like, where do I find a good example of POP writing? And I'm gonna read this story to you. My grandfather Ernest never went to business school, but he was a very wise man. In 1939, he gave my father $1,000 to put in a small grocery store. And from this business, he derived a steady income. He always kept an $1,000 bill in his wallet. I looked it up. They actually used to make $1,000 bills. Had no idea. I asked why he did that, and he told me that one should never leave home without cash because it ensures freedom and peace of mind. That lesson stuck with me, and I've applied it to my investing philosophy ever since. In both personal and business life, cash reserves are crucial for stability and opportunity. It's important to keep your financial house in order so that you can be prepared for anything the market throws your way. All right, let's break this down. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Personal component. This is where he begins. This is where he begins. And I just want to make one thing really clear. All you need is all three of them. You don't need all three of them in order. It just so happens that in this example goes personal, observational, and playful. Personal. You can do two things. Tell a story and insert yourself into whatever it is that you're writing. So I'll show you what he does. My grandfather Ernest never went to business school, but he was a very wise man. That is the story at the beginning. And then he's inserting himself. He's actually putting himself into the piece. And that is why people feel that connection. Most of you do not do this. Most of you are terrified of doing this. And I'm telling you, if you started to insert yourself to tell stories, they gotta be the right ones, you will have so much more connection with the people who read your stuff. Observational. This is about teaching your reader. So you got three tricks that you can do. 1, teach a lesson. 2, distill your wisdom. 3, make it actionable. So what does Buffett do? He does 2 of them here. 1, he makes it actionable. So what you can ask is you can say, give your reader a clear next step. And the thing to ask yourself is, what does this look like in practice? So you're talking about some abstract idea, and you're like, okay, what does this actually look like? How does somebody actually do this? And then distill your wisdom. You've taken all these ideas, so many things, how do you distill it into a memorable nugget? This is one of the things that Buffett does really well. Andrew came right up and he quoted Buffett, right? The very first words that came out of his mouth. I couldn't have drawn it up any better. You can do the same thing. But this observational pillar, this is what you do well. I want you to focus on personal, and the other one is playful. This is about entertaining your reader. There is so much boring investing writing out there. And I'm tired of it. And it's hurting you. It is hurting your business. It is hurting your career. It's hurting your relationships. And I want to focus on this right here. Who have forsworn the protective garb of sound financial prudence. That makes no sense, but people actually write like this. It's complicated jumbo. Let's simplify. Okay, so how can we make this better? So we had Howard Marks, right? He says, there are lots of people who appear to have been skillful, but until they're tested by adverse circumstances, we don't know if it was really skill or just a bunch of good luck. All right, we gotta make it memorable. We gotta get it to a point where it sticks in somebody's brain so that then they can share it with somebody else. That is really when you get the connection. That's really when you get the resonance. That is how you're gonna create the connection, right? So Buffett, he goes, at Berkshire, we retain our risks and depend on no one. And whatever the world's problems, our checks will clear. After all, you only find out who is swimming naked when the tide goes out. Everybody remembers that. You cannot forget that. It's hilarious. You're going to get a chuckle. The reason that Buffett is so unique is he's one of the only investors that writes like this. It's clear and it's memorable. And so I asked Howard Marks, we're sitting down together, and I said, what is it that you admire about Warren Buffett's writing? Here's what he said.
I admire and strive to emulate his turn of phrase. Back in 2009, when the wheels were coming off the economy and the financial sector in the global financial crisis, he said, it's only when the tide goes out that we find out who's been swimming naked.
Right.
What a great image. In other words, there are lots of people who appear to have been skillful, but until they're tested by adverse circumstances, we don't know if it was really skill or just a bunch of good luck. Look how many words it takes me to say that, and he said it in 15.
Yeah. So, here's the Buffett paragraph. You can see it's got the personal, it's got the observational, it's got the playful. Apply that to your writing, and it's gonna just get so much better. These three, that's how you make your writing pop. Personal, observational, playful. Personal is how you relate to your reader. Observational is how you teach your reader. Playful is how you entertain your reader. So write with pop, and don't swim naked. Thank you very much.